I'm Jennifer Townsend. I'm going to be your instructor for this Introduction to Federal Procurement class. Well, not just federal procurement, but state and local as well, public procurement. We're going to be learning in this class a large number of things associated with public procurement. And it really is a very good time to be learning this sort of stuff. Public procurement is a very critical area as governments on all levels are outsourcing, getting more and more stuff via contract rather than having government employees do it. So this is a little introduction to government procurement, and I hope to use a combination of these videos throughout and a combination of various reading assignments and some information that of course I'll be posting into the Blackboard area for you to help us cover this large topic. The first area obviously is, what is public procurement? Well, procurement in a nutshell is essentially buying things. And fortunately, most of us at this point in our lives have had some experience buying something or other. So it's the same sorts of concepts associated with that, but when you take it to the governmental level, it's a little bit more complicated. In our personal lives, when we go out to buy something, say, for instance, this glass paperweight thing, when I went to go buy it, I walked up to the cash register with it, I presented it to the person on the other side of the cash register along with my money, and they took my money and then they gave it back to me and gave me a receipt. Relatively straightforward transaction. I didn't have to sign a contract, I didn't have to prove that I was who I said I was, I didn't have to say that I was going to hire a certain number of small businesses or anything of that sort. I essentially decided what I wanted, took it up to the cash register and bought it. Most of our transactions in our personal lives are very much like that. We decide we want a doll horse or books or whatever the case may be, and then we go out and procure it. Now, this is an example, cell phone, of something that's a little bit more complicated in our personal lives. You can't really buy a cell phone, well, you could, but what you're really looking for is the cell phone services. The phone itself is kind of ancillary to the fact that you can use it, that you get a reception. So when you go to buy a cell phone, generally speaking, there's some sort of contract, and those contracts have some hidden terms and conditions in them. And a lot of times people don't read those, they just are so anxious to get the cell phone started that they sign up to it. And then maybe a year or so later, when they decide that they don't want to switch services, they discover that they can't without paying some sort of enormous fee, $300, $400, to get an early out of the contract that they signed. Well, that's a risk because that is essentially a contract where they agreed to do something that was above and beyond the normal, relatively straightforward transaction. So in our personal lives, as we've procured things throughout our lives to this point, we've bought, all of us, obviously, some very straightforward things, groceries, clothing, jewelry, whatever the case may be. Then we've bought some more complicated things, cell phone being an example. This particular lovely condo that I live in, that was a much more complicated procurement. And this is an example of pretty much the contract that was associated with buying this condo. So real estate is one of the most complicated transactions that we get into in our personal lives. It's so complicated that there's volumes of paper that go along with it. We need real estate agents, we need escrow accounts, we need all sorts of things, notaries to notarize various documents, and all of this come into play when we're making a relatively, in government terms, a relatively small dollar value transaction. In California it can be, $250, $300, $400. I don't know how many of us are in that league at this point, probably not many of us, but those are the sizes of things that we get up to in our personal lives, and it gets relatively complicated in those cases. So public procurement is essentially the same sort of thing, except for we're buying stuff that's not very common. We're buying things in the public that aren't readily available necessarily in the commercial market. Example, roads, trails, welfare services, jails, public transportation. We're buying things on a size and a scale that private companies don't buy, and we're also buying things that just there's not a lot of competition for. So you can't really run down to your local True Value hardware store and buy, the bars that need to get put into the jail. There's a fair bit of hoops that need to be jumped through. So that's public procurement can get fairly complicated because of those reasons. Why is public procurement so hard? I don't know. There's a lot of ideas about procurement reform and, we need better people buying our stuff. I think that's part of it, but I don't think that people are automatically good procurers or purchasers in their own life to begin with. And many of us, I'm sure, have made some sort of transaction in our lives that we've regretted. And we've probably gotten a bad deal on more than one occasion. And that's common. Most people in the United States aren't very good at managing their finances or making good transactions when they go out to buy something. So it only stands to reason that people who enter federal procurement really need to be taught how to make a good deal as much as the rules and processes that go along with making a good deal. Also, getting a good deal, it's important to remember that's a very subjective judgment. What is a good deal to one person is not necessarily a good deal to someone else. To illustrate this, I have this shiny red purse that I recently bought. I got this, it wasn't really on sale, but this and the matching wallet were approximately $500. Did I get a good deal? Well, I wanted the shiny red purse. So much so that I was willing to pay $500 for it. But, and I shouldn't admit this in a procurement class, I probably wasn't the best procurer of it. I didn't look around to see if I could get it cheaper someplace else. I went directly to the manufacturer and I bought it. That wasn't necessarily the best way of trying to get a good deal. And was it worth that amount? Could I have gotten a purse somewhere else for substantially lower cost? Absolutely. And many people would not have made that particular procurement decision that I made. However, it was something that I was willing to do, and in my own subjective judgment, it was something that clearly I must have wanted to do, or else I wouldn't have done it. So throughout procurement, there's subjective judgments, there's a need to learn good procurement practices, and there's also the added complexity of how large-scale things that we need to procure on all levels of government, state, local, national, all kinds of things that need to be thought of in procurement. So as we go throughout this class, we'll talk about these various things, try and lay a framework for you so that no matter where you work or end up working in procurement, or even if you don't end up working in procurement, that you'll have a much better idea of how procurement operates in the public arena and some of the issues and aspects associated with it that really need to be concerned, that we as citizens of various governments and members working for various governments need to be concerned about. So I look forward to the next 10 weeks with you. I hope it will be relatively interesting. Procurement can be a dull topic, but I'll try and make it as interesting as I can, and I welcome you to the class and we'll hopefully have fun. Talk to you later.